In the words of John Kerry, this is it, folks. America's top climate crusader jetting off to a nation that gets rich on oil and gas for the UN's climate summit called COP28.
An embarrassing amount of people there think they're saving the world from utter destruction. Pay no mind to the economic destruction their proposals can and will cause.
No doubt. There's a piece in the Wall Street Journal today exposing how net zero fails the cost-benefit analysis test. Compiling data from several studies, Bjorn Lomborg found that reaching the Paris Agreement goals would create $4.5 trillion worth of benefits annually. The cost for that to happen is $27 trillion annually.
Joining us now to react, the author of Irrational Fear on Substack, Matthew Wielicki. Matthew, great of you to be here. You can not even knowing anything about these technologies, on the outside looking in, no one has actually done this math before jumping headfirst into things like, solar power and wind turbines out in the sea.
Yeah, that's right, Sean Dagan. Great to be with you. Let me just start with a little bit of a warning about any sort of cost-benefit analysis that we see in terms of climate change. The cost part is relatively straightforward. We know what we're spending on climate policies and we can project those into the future. But the benefit part is actually very difficult to ascertain because the benefit part assumes that there is some economic cost from the environment at every incremental level of greenhouse gas emissions or concentration in the atmosphere. And that's just not what we see in the scientific data. We've seen that atmospheric greenhouse gas concentrations have continued to rise, but the costs of environmental costs in extreme weather, those vary dramatically. Some years are pretty substantial, other years are relatively quiet. If we do a normalized statistical analysis in terms of GDP, we're seeing that the planet and governments are not spending any more money in terms of a percentage of GDP on these types of extreme weather events. So the benefit side is very difficult to ascertain. So that's just a little bit of a warning there. But I think we're seeing these types of reports now because we have collectively spent trillions of dollars. This is the 28th of these climate summits that you mentioned, the 27 before, all of the other climate meetings, the mass hysterics that you guys have reported on so nicely on this program. The collective efforts, the collective result of all of that is essentially nothing. There has been no decrease in the amount of concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. And in fact, that concentration continues to increase at an increasing rate. So if the goal is really to lower atmospheric CO2 concentration, and that's where the benefit comes from, thus far we have seen no benefit. We have seen enormous costs. We have seen enormous amounts of money spent. We have seen the expansion of government in the name of climate change, but we don't see any of the benefits. But remember, Dagan, Sean, as we've talked about multiple times, the ultimate goal is not to lower greenhouse gas concentrations. The ultimate goal is money and power. And in that regard, unfortunately, they're doing pretty well.
And the problem is you have world leaders, the rich, the elites, they all get together, and the media is there as well, and they push this garbage out into the minds of the American people, especially young people. And you're doing great work, Matthew, and others like you are doing great work. But their megaphone is so big, it becomes really problematic to think, how do you fight back and win with the truth about what they're trying to do and why it's not as big of a problem as they claim?
Yeah, it's absolutely a huge uphill battle, Sean. I mean, they have the huge microphones. They have all of the money right now is flowing into this. But I think people are starting to see that they're being hit in the pocketbook. They're starting to pay more. They're getting more control of their lives from the government. And they're not really seeing any real change in terms of any benefit from the weather changing or anything like that, because we know that the atmospheric CO2 concentration doesn't correlate directly with extreme weather or environmental cost.
Matthew, I went and I saw that you retweeted an old headline in terms of the fear mongering. It started right around the time, the beginning of the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. And you retweeted this. This is an actual headline from the Associated Press, June 29th, 1989. UN predicts disaster if global warming is not checked. Here's one of the first sentence. A senior UN environmental official says entire nations could be wiped off the face of the earth by rising sea levels if the global warming trend is not reversed by the year 2000. And if you go into this article, again, the point is to scare the living hell out of people.
Yeah, that's right, Dagan. I mean, I think they know, and they've worked with social sciences, that they're trying to elicit a fear response because that's how you change people's behaviors. And if you're in the realm of trying to drive policy, then you're trying to change people's behaviors. And a great way to do this is to catastrophize every single bit about climate change. And they've been, like you pointed out, they've been doing it since the 90s, and none of this stuff is coming true. That doesn't mean that we won't face challenges, but the hyperbole that you see is all part of this plan to elicit a fear response. And unfortunately, we see it's working with people, you know, the mental health crisis that we see with young people. It seems to be working, unfortunately.
Matthew Wielicki, always a pleasure. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
Great
Thank
to
you,
see
guys.
Keep up the good work, too, by the way.
Yes,
We appreciate it.
Absolutely.